UFC 299 this Saturday, O'Malley versus Vera. Amazing, amazing card. Can't begin to describe how stacked it is, as you all know. I will say this though, I cannot stand the main event. I hate the main event. Well, maybe hate's a strong word. I very, very strongly dislike the main event. I think maybe it's being a bit hyperbolic, one of the worst main events in terms of title fights that I've ever seen. Oh, before I forget, I'm doing a little bit of a giveaway and I'm going to be doing these going forward as well. In the comment section down below, put your 5 picks for the main card. For all 5 fights, your picks. Don't have to put the type of method to victory, KO, TKO, sub, nothing like that. Just who's going to win. If you get all 5 correct, I will send you a $10 gift card, no questions asked. Okay? In the comment section down below, just put your 5 picks and I'll send it right over to you if you get it all correct. So do that and good luck. Okay, so if you put your eyes on the display right here, you see I have the entire main card and all the fighters right here. So we're going to break them down fight by fight, starting with O'Malley versus Vera. Like I said, timestamps in the description down below, and you can just jump into whatever fight you're interested in, more or less. Up to you. I'm starting off with O'Malley versus Vera. Like I said before, I hate this main event. I really, really dislike this main event. And let's be honest, Sean O'Malley picked this as a main event for a reason. Not just because it's revenge, quote unquote. This right here is one of the easiest fights for him at the top of the division. It really is. Marlon Vera is not an elite fighter. Marlon Vera is not a championship fighter. There's no universe that Chito Vera should get a title shot unless Sean O'Malley is champion. If Sean O'Malley was not champion, he would never get a title shot. Now, it sounds like I really dislike Chito Vera or I despise him or whatever. I don't. I enjoy watching him fight. I find his style annoying at times, especially against the elite level, right? But he's a pretty entertaining fighter, kind of, depending on the fight. Like the Raw Font fight was pretty good. The Corey Sandhagen fight was, while he got schooled, was all right. He's a above average fighter. At best. He's not a championship fighter. Now, I just want to point out something to you, okay? Let's look at a couple Marlon Vera's fights. First of all, why did I say that his style is a little bit infuriating and not that good against the elite level? Very, very simple to see, okay? You could take any of his fights against elite people, not people like Dominic Cruz, Frankie Edgar, Rob Font, Pedro Munoz. Look at anybody who's fought who's a little bit more elite. He's lost to them. Let's look at the Corey Sandhagen fight, for example. Corey Sandhagen absolutely schooled Marlon Vera. Schooled him. Made it look like an easy fight. Made it look like Marlon Vera didn't really belong in there. Honestly, I don't know if you've rewatched the fight in a while. He schooled him. And how it was a split decision, I have no idea. Chito Vera must have been fucking paying somebody, one of the judges or something. I don't know if they were fighting in Ecuador. I don't know where it was. He must have paid them or something, because that was not that. What happened in the fight? Like, what happens in a lot of Chito fights? Well, maybe the first 1, 2, 3 rounds, he's a little bit slower. He's trying to get your reads. He doesn't really push the pace too much, and then he starts picking it up as time goes by. Here's the problem against elite fighters like Corey Sandhagen. They will beat you pretty handily in the first couple of rounds, and then you will not be able to catch them or beat them up in rounds 3, 4, or 5. It's not going to happen. Look at his fight against Pedro Munoz. First 2 rounds, didn't do jack shit. Honestly, didn't really do jack shit. Round 3 establishes a really solid jab and pieces apart Pedro Munoz and busts up his face. Round 3 was great. He really took it to Pedro Munoz there. Corey Sandhagen, when he tried to come back in rounds 4 and 5, Corey wasn't there. He was using his range, his distance, the kicks, the punches, the clinches against the cage, the threat of the takedowns, disrupting his movements, angles, stance switching. Marlon had nothing and he was getting frustrated because that's what happens when someone like Chito fights an elite fighter. He doesn't really do much in the first couple rounds, but then because they're elite, he's not going to be able to just catch them in rounds 4 and 5. That's what happens. And that's what gets annoying about his style, because I understand his style. It is what it is, and it does work. But against elite people, it's not going to work. It's just not going to. Now, Sean O'Malley picked him because this is the easiest fight for Sean O'Malley. It is. This is the easiest fight for him. One of the easiest fights for him at the upper end of the division. And I predict right now, official prediction, Sean O'Malley will spend maybe the first 2 rounds, 3 rounds, standing on the outside, using his range with his kicks, his punches, body kicks, calf kicks, head kicks, punches, staying outside of his range to pick him apart the first couple of rounds. And then if Marlon Vera ever starts his defiant comeback, as he likes to do it, later on in rounds like he likes to do it, it'll be too late from that point. He's not going to catch Sean like he did the first fight, on the leg or anything like that. I don't see him catching Sean on the feet when it comes to punches or the head kick. So Sean's just going to continue to circle around him and continue to beat him up until he either gets a decision victory or finishes him. I tend to think he'll get a decision victory, and he's going to make it look pretty easy, to be quite honest. I like Cheeto. Hopefully he gets paid well. Do what you got to do. He does not deserve this. Corey Sandhagen deserves this. 3-fight win streak. Schooled Marlon Vera. Merab deserves this. Merab would run through Marlon Vera so bad. It would be like if it was a 5-round fight, it would be like a 50-42. It would be that bad. So I'm predicting Sean O'Malley by probably 50-44 type decision. Pretty clear sweep 5 rounds. Maybe there'll be instances where Marlon can, put some sort of offense together in the later rounds. But based on the style of him taking it slow, I think this is Sean's fight all day. Now we're going to get into the co-main event. The fight I am really, really looking forward to, and I think a lot of you are really, really looking forward to. Benoit Denis versus Dustin Poirier. Now, I already released a video on my channel regarding this, so I'm not going to go too into detail in this particular video. So you can check out my channel. I released a video breaking down Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Denis, and I believe I've identified some weaknesses that Benoit Denis has, which I believe Dustin Poirier will be able to exploit. Just to kind of make it a little bit, long story short type of situation, if you don't end up watching the video, Benoit Denis, in my opinion, leaves a little bit too many openings when he fights. He has a high pressure style, which he uses to crumble his opponents, and he does have quite good grappling as well that he can mix in. I actually do think Benoit Denis is actually going to be a threat to the lightweight division, very, very soon here. I think he's a little bit early. I do think that, and I believe that Dustin has not fallen off just yet. Benoit Denis, if he comes in using his normal pressure style, and where he leaves his hands down, he leaves himself in vulnerable positions. Sometimes he'll leave himself in certain positions without his hands up, and you'll see in other ones of his fights, either the fighters that he's fighting clip him or just barely miss. I think that leaving those type of openings against someone like Dustin Poirier, who hits really, really hard, is going to be a big problem for him. So I am anticipating that Benoit Denis is going to lose this fight. I don't know if Dustin Poirier is going to finish him, but I do think it's going to be a good back and forth. And I think that Dustin Poirier will probably get a TKO in round 3. That's my prediction. Because remember, this is a 5-round fight. And one of the other things I analyzed in my video that I have on my channel is that you'll notice after round 1, BSD does tend to slow down just a little bit because his style is so intense. He just moves forward really, really fast. It's not like he's just super gassed and just flopping around the place. But you'll notice a significant slowdown. Kevin Holland versus Michael Venom Page. Now, obviously, very interesting fight. Really cool signing by the UFC. I do wish it would have happened maybe a couple of years ago because at this point, remember, Michael Venom Page, 36 years old, I believe, turning 37 in April. I believe that's what it is. Facing off against Kevin Holland. Here's what I think will happen in this fight. First of all, Michael Venom Page has been a little bit too inactive for my comfort since about 2020. Not fighting the highest level of talent. I guess you can argue that his best competition in his last couple fights was probably Logan Storley, I guess you could say. Kevin Holland has been on a pretty decent run since the Stephen Thompson fight. If you guys remember, beating Michael Chiesa, Ponzinibbio, and then he had actually a pretty decent back and forth with Jack Della Maddalena, who's on this card as well. And I think that Kevin Holland's range and maturity and defense, not making it into just like a talking fun fight the whole time, gave Jack Della Maddalena some problems, I think, especially the range and the height. I think that what we're going to see in this fight is MVP, first of all, 36 years old. And I also think you're about to see the difference in competition level between who MVP has been fighting and someone like Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, who's not some top 5 UFC welterweight, nothing like that. Not the best fighter in the world, obviously, but a pretty solid UFC fighter in the top 15. I think you're about to see Michael Venom Page have some problems with him on the feet, in the grappling department, everywhere we go. And I don't want people to think that Kevin has not been doing good his last couple of fights. He has been. The Jack Della Maddalena fight, he did not look bad. Chiesa Ponzinibbio, he looked fine. Yeah, the Thompson fight, he was having a lot of fun, and maybe he could have stayed on the ground when he had the opportunity. I get it. Thompson looked great. but I really do believe that Kevin Holland is going to win this fight by decision. I'm picking by decision, and I think after we're going to be like, damn MVP, you really were fighting some lower quality guys when you were in Bellator, weren't you? Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. Now, one of the interesting things is how the UFC's essentially put two of these similar type fights, like a person outside of the top 10 fighting a long-time perennial contender, title challenger in Gilbert Burns, Dustin Poirier. You have Benoit, Denis, and Jack Della Maddalena. The quote-unquote new guard fighting the quote-unquote old guard. Do I think the old guard is going to fall in this fight? I don't think so. If Gilbert Burns has not fallen off, I believe he can beat Jack Della Maddalena. Now, Jack Della Maddalena, as I mentioned when I was breaking down Kevin Holland versus MVP, he didn't look bad in the Kevin Holland fight. He didn't. I'm not saying that. I do think he had some problems with I think Kevin Holland's length, the range, and I think all the kicks Kevin Holland was throwing, some of the defense that Kevin Holland was throwing, I think he had some problems with that. Also, it was clearly a step up in competition. Jack Della Maddalena is very fun to watch, especially a striking dude. Like, this guy's striking, his combination's beautiful. But I think one of the things that I'm kind of concerned about with him, he can finish people. Obviously, I'm not saying he can't. But his last two fights, I was a little bit concerned that he couldn't really do too much damage. Well, I guess the opponent before, Holland, he did do a decent amount of damage. I believe his name was Hafiz. But Holland, he wasn't really able to damage that much. Holland is durable. Gilbert Burns is very durable too. So my only question now is this. Do I think that Jack Della Maddalena is going to be able to keep this on the feet the whole fight? I don't think so. His takedown defense is pretty decent, but I think that if Gilbert Burns can get him on the cage, which I think is going to be his game plan, he should be able to take him down and beat him on the ground. And even on the feet, Gilbert Burns is not bad. Like, yeah, he might not have the same level of crispness in his striking as Jack, but I think he can hang with him on the feet, get him to the cage, take him down, and beat him up there. Maybe even submit him. Again, I don't want to look too much in the Kevin Holland fight. I just looked at that. I'm like, I know the length and the range and the kicking was a problem for him, and Gilbert Burns doesn't have that same height and the range and the kicks. I think that Kevin Holland fight showed me that Jack Della Maddalena needs a little bit more time, slowly working his way up the ranks. I think this is too much of a jump, and I think that Gilbert Burns is going to push him against the cage, take him down, and secure the victory from there. I am predicting Gilbert Burns by, do I want to pick decision or submission? I'm going to pick decision, okay? I'm going to pick decision. I'm going to say Jack Della Maddalena will hold on, but I just don't think he's ready yet. Now, this is a fight I've really, really been looking forward to as well. Song Yadong versus Petr Yan. I think this will be Petr Yan's return fight. Maybe not return to his absolute glory, but I do believe he can win this fight. Now, I think that the matchmakers are pretty smart with this fight because this is winnable for Song Yadong as well, who is a solid boxer with pretty good decent takedown defense. Now, I don't know how he's going to do against the trips and the unorthodox takedowns that Petr Yan could have, but I think this is primarily going to be a striking fight, and it's going to be very, very, very interesting to see how he hangs. Song Yadong, to me, showed in the Corey Sandhagen fight that he might not just be ready for the top of the division just yet, but he showed me some stuff in the Corey Sandhagen fight where I was like, there might be some stuff here. I do think that Corey Sandhagen didn't fight with the best game plan in that fight, and one thing that just pisses me off about Corey Sandhagen is he just does not use enough kicks. And you saw in the Gutierrez fight that Song Yadong, again, it was a short notice late replacement, he was having a little bit of trouble with the amount of kicks Gutierrez was throwing, right? And Gutierrez was throwing a lot of like teep kicks, front kicks, kicks here, just feinting a lot with them. And I could see Song Yadong was having a little bit of a problem with that, and then had to, switch to the grappling, take him down, and then he beat him up on the field a little bit more later. So it's not saying he looked bad and it was short notice, but I do believe that Song Yadong has solid boxing, good boxing, but I just don't see the level of threat in his striking that someone, say, like Ilia Topuria possesses. I don't see that Song Yadong just yet, especially at the higher level. He has really good striking, but he doesn't really mix in too many kicks. And what I saw in the Gutierrez fight was if you're throwing a lot of kicks at him, he'll have a little bit of a problem. And in the Corey Sandhagen fight, Corey Sandhagen, who's not, one of the best grapplers, obviously, was able to give Song Yadong a little bit of problems against the cage, and then the constant takedown threats. If Poirier can mix up his kicks with his punches and then push him on the cage and maybe threaten takedowns, I believe he can. This is his fight to return to glory. I really do think it is. Again, my only concern with Yadong right now is his boxing technique and his power is good. I still just feel like he's missing a little bit there. Like someone like Poirier, who possesses devastating power and can set up his strikes better than Yadong. I think he's just missing that a little bit. Plus, I do think that Yadong should probably add a little bit more kicking to his arsenal. I really do think so. My prediction for this fight is Poirier, if he's smart, uses his kicks, his really, really good boxing as well. It's a really fun striking match, but he fights an intelligent fight where he mixes in some level of grappling against the cage, frustrates Song Yadong, and beats him by decision. But I do think that Song Yadong is going to show some promise in this fight. I think that Poirier is going to, I don't want to say eke out a decision, but just maybe 2-1, split decision type of thing. I do think he can do that. I do think he possesses that capability. That's pretty much my thoughts. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and hit the like button if you end up liking it. Subscribe for more content similar to this. And like I said in the beginning of the video, put your 5 picks for the main event. If you get them all correct, I'll give you a $10 gift card if you're choosing. No questions asked, all right? If you can get all 5 correct. Put your picks in the comment section down below. I'll check it after the fights are done. So thank you guys again for watching. Catch you later. Peace.